Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis.
And I'm Ethan.
And this is
Monster Comic Reviews.
That's right, and this is for the final week of July, that strange fifth week where comics that come out in that week must have a really odd schedule to hit the fifth week.
Yeah.
Either they're behind or they're ahead, or in this case, they're annuals, which is what a lot of what we're really talking about.
That makes sense. I can
Right?
that.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we talking about first?
First up we have the Animal Man annual.
Annual number 2. Travel Foreman doing art on this, come back after he was the original artist on the book when the book first came out. Love that. I like his style for Animal Man because Animal Man is a kind of a strange book, and so having that. I didn't even mind the case. This book actually takes place in between, or right after issue 19, before issue 20. So it's a few issues ago is when this time frame thing happens. That was a great story. You look at the cover, you get all suckered into thinking it's gonna, oh, he's fighting this big monster and whatnot. You get this, story with him and his son and his second kid, Maxine, right?
Yeah.
Is getting ready to be born.
Uh-huh.
And him being Animal Man. You think you got this conflict with these spider dudettes, and by the time you're done with the very end of the story, though,
Yeah.
it's a very emotional story. It's got nothing to do with fighting monsters. It has to do with trying to keep memories alive and whatnot, and just how much he cares about Cliff. I thought it was an awesome story. Not essential for Animal Man, but just the whole remembering Cliff and how emotionally distraught he is and whatnot. Played really well with me. Maybe more so because, of course, I'm a parent, and so the idea of losing a kid and I'm sure wanting to be able to hang on to all those memories and whatnot probably maybe means more to me than maybe it does to other people. But so that was a really, really great book. What'd you think?
I liked it. The spiders creep me out. I thought it was cool that he wasn't just gonna punch the spiders in the face and call it good.
Right.
The fact that they mostly eat dreams. That's cool.
It's cool. Very cool.
Still creepy.
Well, the fact that there's somewhere out there right now in the DC universe, there's this spider humanoid creature with all of her babies that eating the dreams of animals.
Yeah, and animals.
Well, eat the animals too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's kind
In
of
some
creepy.
cave somewhere in California, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Not going to California anytime soon. Hey, although you noticed he placed them in the state that could sink at any time.
Oh, okay. So he's got a backup plan.
Yeah, cause a nationwide earthquake,
Yeah.
sink California, that'll earn you points. No, I liked it. I don't blame him for freaking out. I think if my son died in some dramatic incident and then somebody was claiming that it
The
was
tabloids,
just a
right?
hoax.
You go to the 7-Eleven and all the tabloids are like, it's just a hoax to pimp his movie and all that kind of stuff. I'd go ballistic too.
Yeah, yep, nope, I'd totally be throwing around the magazine stands.
Yeah.
I'd probably be throwing around the magazine people too, actually.
Hunt them down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, I liked it. I thought the story was good. Like I said, the spiders creep me out. But they're interesting. They're an interesting concept.
Right.
They're the kind of spiders that I don't like, because they're the skinny, super fast spiders, not the big
poisonous looking things as opposed to the big clunky tarantula.
tarantulas. Oh, no. Yeah, so...
No.
Yeah.
What would you rate this book?
I think I'd give it a 4.
I'm going to give it a very strong 4. I'm not sure exactly what it would have to be a 5.
Yeah.
But it was really good. By the time I finished reading the book, it was like, yes. It was a feel good in a very bad situation kind of thing.
Yes.
So, yeah, very much enjoyed it. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Batman, annual number 2.
Well, it's always nice when there's somebody in Gotham who's positive and cheery and upbeat and doesn't get the absolute bejesus tore out of them. Since that usually happens, I don't know, that comes back to me as the Man-Bat story with, 352 with Huntress? Yeah, Huntress. With Huntress, with the preacher, and he's just super faithful and he has all this faith, and then this voice, the voice of God, commands him to kill tons of people and then he'll finally have it good, right? And because he's so worn down, he's just kind of gone crazy. So...
That's pre-52?
Yeah, pre-52.
Okay, right.
Because Huntress is trying to kill Man-Bat. I remember that story because Huntress and Man-Bat...
That was in Batman, Streets of Gotham.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, so that was cool. The Anchoress, that's depressing. That's really depressing.
Well, what's the Anchoress?
Well, an Anchoress is somebody who, well, I guess a female version of an Anchoress is somebody who locks themselves away because they've done something horrible, and they want to atone for that.
Okay.
So, this lady can phase herself through things. That's pretty bitchin'.
Well, she has
No,
some.
she doesn't phase herself through
No.
things. She sends out stray cells and then pulls herself to them.
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't
She
know.
was doing some experiments. She's older than the Hills, basically.
Yeah,
She was during Einstein and particle manipulation and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. She was messing around with that stuff. Got herself exposed. The stereotypical splashed chemicals
Yeah.
on her.
Blew
and,
up her house and killed everybody.
and so now, and that's what her atonement is. But
Yeah.
now she has the ability to basically move her particles around, which to all kinds of horrific effects. potentially.
Yeah. No, that's probably why she's so old too, is because if she's regrowing herself
Right.
repeatedly, that would probably extend her life by a lot. But I love the fact that when, he cuts out they're shooting her with a stun gun through the beams, right? I love the fact that it happens that the piece that he cuts out of the bars is shaped like a cross. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I love how easily Batman breezes through the Arkham stuff. On the other hand, it kind of annoys me because he's like, with each one he names a different villain, how each different villain could get through it. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing probably all of the Arkham villains won't be escaping at the same time then. I mean, he's like, all of them could blah 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 blah. And even if they were all escaping at the same time, unless they have somebody somehow, controlling them into all working together,
Right.
I don't think they'd come together by themselves.
Yeah. Maybe not, but to all of them get out of Arkham, yeah.
At the same time, he's
That-
like,
that's
this person
storylines
could do
we've seen
blah, blah,
before,
blah, blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, that part. One of the things about this book is it says it's written by Scott Snyder and Marguerite Bennett. Marguerite Bennett is, I think, somebody else that Scott Snyder's tutoring, like Kyle Higgins and James Tinian and before, and a bunch of them that he's moving these writers in, which is great. Female writer, awesome. We can get a different perspective. I think she wrote the script pretty much. The two of them came up with the idea, and then she wrote the dialogue and the actual script and whatnot. There's parts of this that feel a little clunky. Some of that, so and so gets out this way and so gets out that way. Some of that felt a little on the clunky side. I love the dialogue of our villainess, the lady who's been stuck in Arkham for forever. I like the dialogue of the guy you're talking about. Can't remember his name right now. The guy that's from Metropolis, and he's there to help. I mean, he really thinks that Arkham can go back to being a helpful place as opposed to a place
prison.
to breed more crazies, basically. So that's great. I like those parts. There's some great dialogue. The concept of her is awesome. I mean, I just think that's a great thing. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't like, the whole 0 year thing that they put on there. I'll comment just like everybody else who's reviewed this book is there's almost nothing that's to do with 0 year, other than at some point Batman was breaking into Arkham because he couldn't find the files that he needed.
Red Hood gang.
Right, and then before he was Batman, and somehow that violates her sanctity of.
Well,
Sure.
I can understand that.
Right.
I mean, because it's an asylum and stuff, so it's supposed to be
Doctor-
a private own
right,
little
right.
thing, and when somebody interrupts that, I can see if you're already unstable, how that would just be the last, the feather that broke the camel's back. Right. Kind of thing.
Except I don't think she was ever crazy.
No.
More, she was just
No.
having a hard time dealing with the remorse of having barbecued her family.
So,
What would we rate this book?
I think I'd give it a solid 3.
I give it a solid 3 also. What are we talking about next?
Okay, next up we have The Fearless Defenders, issue 7.
So, Internet, remember where last issue you kind of all exploded because they killed Annabelle and everybody freaked out and oh my god, you killed the only lesbian character in all of Marveldom or something like that.
But you feel pretty stupid right now.
Yeah. Gotta remember, it's comic books. And in comic books, do people really die very often?
Nobody ever dies.
Well, they die. I mean, people do die.
Okay, they die, but not permanently.
Yeah.
I mean,
So anyway, Annabelle is in Valhalla. Perfect place for her. She was a shield maiden. She bit the dust in battle. That's where warriors go. So
Doesn't
of
look
course,
very much fun.
she absolutely hates it because
Would
it's like hanging out with a bunch of
Guys.
armored swordsmen,
seriously.
frat boys, basically.
Valhalla is like a man cave. I
Right,
mean,
and she's a nerd.
Yep.
She's a nerd. I mean, she's a lesbian. First problem. She's a lesbian in a full of manly men thing.
She's a lesbian
And-
nerd in a man cave. That's
Right,
awesome.
and she's a nerd. You know, she's about books and stuff like that. And these guys are all about how badly they kick somebody's ass and stuff. So complete nightmare. It's like hell for her.
Yeah.
You know, and she complains a little bit about it and just tries to sleep it through and whatnot.
Yeah, she didn't spend very much time in the fridge. I mean,
Meanwhile, Valkyrie has decided that it's unacceptable for her to be stuck in Valhalla, and she's going to find a way to get her out. She finds this sorceress, which I'm sure if we had been reading other Marvel stuff, we'd know who this person was.
Yeah.
I don't really know who she is. She seemed cool. She agrees to do it, but of course there's a price involved.
Yeah.
As there always is when you bring somebody back from the dead. So,
That price will pretty much kill their relationship.
well, it'll be interesting. Well, yeah, or it makes it really interesting anyway. I don't know. I don't know if it kills it, but is it still masturbating when when you're both in the same body?
Oh, dang.
I don't know, but that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. You know, one of the things that made this book really awesome, the artwork.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm drawing a blank on her name. I'm gonna look real quick here. Stephanie Hans is in the artwork. I guess she did artwork on Journey into Mystery, I guess is one of the things. And she's been doing alternate covers for a lot of books. Like she does the alternate covers for Suicide Risk. I don't see those covers.
Yeah.
But she does some other covers and whatnot. But she has a painted style.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which was fabulous for this fantasy setting realm because they're in Valhalla.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Really great. My opinion, get this woman on a book all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's my biggest point with Fearless Defenders. It's kind of a fun book, but the art's kind of sketchy at times. It's inconsistent, even though it's the same artist most of the time. But this girl, man, loved it. Rich looking, was great and whatnot. What do you think about it? Anything else you want to add?
Oh, your comment about masturbating, that just, I don't know.
I know, just
that reminds me of that, like, the live-action Scooby-Doo movie, when they all possess each other's bodies.
Yeah.
Hey, I can look at myself naked! I mean, that's awkward. That's really awkward, you know? I don't care if I killed that person, I feel guilty. I will find somebody else to, maybe I'll find somebody brain dead.
Well,
they can share your body with somebody.
But the thing is, right now, they brought Annabelle back, and Valkyrie is in Annabelle's body. I don't know if there's a swap. Because if there's not a swap, I don't know how interested Valkyrie is in Annabelle. I mean, she is, but not in the same way that Annabelle is interested in Valkyrie, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know, when I said that, I don't know if there's going to be that kind of sexual tension because it's just a personality right in her. Unless, of course, it's something really weird and she actually is possessed occasionally by, well, she still is, her body. It's like it's swapping over to Valkyrie's body.
Yeah.
So it's not nearly as kinky as what that sounds like. I take it back. And we'll continue to embarrass each other.
Cheating. Okay, yeah, no, I think I'd give it, here's what I'd give this book a 3, but I think I'm going to give it a 4, just because it had that art.
I get a 4 too.
Yeah.
It was great. I don't feel like it was a cheap death, they're killing her off and then immediately bringing her back. To me, it felt less cheap because they immediately brought her back than making it the next trial or whatever. It really felt like this was all just par for the course, which had been going on and whatnot, and made sense and whatnot. So as far as deaths in comic goes, wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't fridging or anything like that, I don't think. So.
Nope.
Yep. I give it 4 also. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Captain Marvel issue 14.
Which I did not read because I didn't read the last issue and there's all this tie-in stuff, so I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
Really?
So.
You didn't read the last one?
No, remember? I just kind of forgot.
Oh, that's right. This comic would probably be really cool if I had read the tie-in. This one wasn't bad. This has to do this really heroic thing. I'll tell you what happens. We'll spoil it. Oh, spoilers!
Oh, no.
Not that all of our stuff isn't spoilers. Could potentially, but she's
Damien dies.
Don't kick the camera! Oh. At any rate, so this guy that she's been messing with her throughout the comic that you're familiar with, you don't really tell us who he was. He's one of the people that she gets her powers from. Can't remember what they're called right now. Marvel is one of them. The alien race. Whatever the alien race is.
Oh, the Skrull?
He's pissed off.
No,
he's pissed off because he can't go back to where he came from because something that when she got her powers and Marvel and all that stuff screwed him up, so he can't go home. So he's gonna make a version of that here. So he's making this home city, this giant star thing. He's actually making it materialize with these sentinels and a whole bunch of complicated crap that I don't understand because I don't have those issues of Avengers Assemble, right? And he's going to drop it on New York. So it's becoming solid, and it's going to crush everybody. The Avengers are fighting, they can't get it to stop, and she decides, well, there's one way to stop it. Because all the power's coming from her. She's like the focal power point. Mm-hmm. She flies straight up in the air. Of course, what happens if she flies?
Oh.
Her head explodes. Mm-hmm. Or she might lose her memory or whatever. They don't know what's going to happen to her. That's the biggest threat is that... Because the spot that's in her head is a piece of him.
Yeah.
It's literally a piece of him.
Yeah.
It's a slice of his brain inside her brain, kind of a thing. And so she goes flying up into space. This really dramatic moment. You know, she's bleeding out of her ears and eyeballs and everything else because of the whole thing. But she gets far enough that shuts it all down, which completely annihilates the dude's city. And Captain America, you know, basically bitch slaps him, and they're gonna cuff and whatnot. But she's up in space now, floating, completely unconscious, and nobody knows what's gonna come back. Everybody on the ground, you know, like, she saved us. You know, the little girl and her mom are like, wow, I saved her. She's like, and the little girl's like, I told you, Mom, I told you, you know, Captain Marvel would do it, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, wow, what do we tell her? Because they all assume she's screwed now. I mean, she may not come back as anything. If she's not dead, she's not going to come back probably as Captain, you know, as Carol Danvers the movie before. Oh, but we'll tell her, whatever. Nice dramatic. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, it was a dramatic thing. And like I said, it would have much more impact if I would have gotten those bits and pieces. But it makes me mad that I had to be forced to read those pieces, because the last one kind of explains what the hell's going on before it jumps into this. This one doesn't explain anything before it jumps into it, really.
Great.
So, I don't know. I'm curious now to see if they really do write a completely new Captain Marvel. You know, because she's kind of been mind-wiped in some sense or another, what her personality will be like or whatever. Curious about that. But yeah. The crossovers have wrecked this book for me. I will not be getting it going much further forward because I know there's more crossovers coming up and poo.
Okay,
so I would give it A3 because it was kind of a cool ending.
Okay. Next up,
We're talking about it.
Next up, we have Batman Detective Comics issue 2.
Annual
2. Sorry,
issue 2.
Annual issue.
I like the cover. The cover is drawn by Andy Clark. It's pretty cool.
Probably the best thing about the book.
Yeah, I did not like. This has got another writer in it too. Joshua Williams or something like that. Williamson is his name. Writing along with Layman. I didn't care for the first story at all.
Yeah,
I'm having problems even remembering exactly what it was. But I remember the dialogue being dumb.
Oh, it's just really not good. I mean, Jane Doe.
Oh, good. That's what it was. Love the Jane Doe. Love the Jane Doe character pre-52.
Sure, you loved it. Sure. Can't even remember.
Yeah, pre-52. Love Jane Doe because Jane Doe was, of course, in Gotham, Streets of Gotham. We really liked that character. At least I certainly did. She really messed with people and whatnot. Here, they make her superpowers a little. I mean, she's like wacko mimicry as opposed to
skinning
the person, having to wear their face. She literally doesn't have to do that. She can put like a fake face on and then
become that person
up that no one knows, even though he doesn't. I mean, because the old one, she literally had to kill you first, and she literally fleshed you and put the flesh on herself, and then could wear it like a second skin. Yeah, basically. The one thing about this, the second story that's in it, because there's like 3 stories or 2 stories in it.
What made this issue good was the backup stories.
Right.
You know, the one where it starts out and it's the psychotherapist.
Oh no.
Starts as
Abby.
a psychotherapist, right? And then Bullock shows up and she's like, oh, right. And then it turns out Abby isn't there, right? It's just Jane Doe pretending to be Abby, right? And then they're talking, and then you get to the end and you find out that nobody was there,
right?
And it's just Jane Doe.
Right.
Joe.
To set that story, awesome. Right? It was awesome. To set that story up, basically in the main story, Jane Doe takes over the persona of Bullock, Detective Bullock.
Yeah.
And he kind of has this quasi-romantic relationship with this psychotherapist named Abby, who's a very beautiful woman. Really bizarre for Bullock to be that. So the other relationship, it all goes to hell in a handbasket because obviously he's not really Bullock. It was Jane Doe the whole time. So Bullock, in the back of his head, is thinking, how in the world did Jane Doe, as him, get this woman who he feels is way above his class? I mean, because normally he can't pay his bills on time. He's kind of a slob. How did that work? So he shows up, supposedly, in the second story, he shows up at Arkham Asylum, originally to talk to Abby. You find out it's really not Abby that he's talking to. He's trying to get the information out of Jane Doe, right? He's trying to get the information out of Jane Doe so he can understand what Jane Doe did. How did Jane Doe act, being him, to make that happen for him? Because, you know, obviously he'd like a positive in his life and he'd like that to happen. And then, like Ethan said at the very end, you find out that the orderlies are walking away from the room she's locked in, and literally it's Jane Doe having a conversation with 3 people. Jane Doe, Abby, and Bullock. She's actually literally swooping between each person. Voices, personalities, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And that was very cool.
Yeah, and the other backup story, now that I remember, was kind of depressing too, because, you know, all this amazing stuff. Bullock does tons of awesome stuff.
Right.
Except it's Jane Doe.
Right.
So, you know, this guy comes up, he's thinking about, right, you know, he's thinking about all the things that Jane Doe did, right, and this guy comes up, and he's like, oh, dude, you saved my brother in this robbery, dude, let me buy you a drink, man. He's like, no, that's not me, right?
Like, no, I saw you.
He's like, yeah, he's like, I know it's you. He's like, you got the wrong person. And that's the last thing, is, nope, that wasn't me. You're just like,
Yeah. So the emotional content that has on Bullock, that's actually a cool thing. That little slice in this annual, this $5 annual, plus that one little pair of that one story.
The 2 backup stories, they made it worth, well, not worth it, but
not worth the money, but they were good.
But that's the only thing worth anything about this.
And I like the cover.
You know, yeah, the cover's cool.
And the color cover. Anyway, we're not even gonna rate that book, huh?
Oh, I guess we're not. No, I give it
a very weak 3.
I give the first story like a 2. I give the Jane Doe one probably a 4. Yeah, the one with
the middle one.
Talking with herself, because that was just really clever. And then I gave the last one a 3.
That's good. I'll agree with that. Okay, next up we're going to talk about FF issue 10. This will be an interesting book to talk about.
Oh my god.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, cheater. Okay, so you've decided that you're going to kill somebody, right? Cool.
Why are they trying to kill somebody?
Because they're killing Johnny Storm before he can really do well. Maybe Johnny.
Doctor Doom is telling Alex Power
to
kill off Johnny
maybe
Storm.
Johnny Storm before he can really cause any trouble, because Johnny Storm actually kind of knows what's going on. We think maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
well, he points at Alec and goes, "I know you're full of crap, man." Almost kills him with a stack of pancakes. And
yeah, that's embarrassing. Anyway though, so, you know, I'm forced to wonder, did the Molites see what that Alex is working for Doom? Because, you know, he's sitting there in the bathroom stall talking on his watch.
There's Molites above and Molites below.
Right, yeah, and there's Molites looking at him through the stalls, right? So, though, he decides that he's going to ask Medusa's kid, for some reason, how to kill people.
Well, no, not how to kill people. Does he know anyone who's killed anybody?
Right, so then
because Alec wants to talk to somebody about what that's going to be like to kill somebody.
Right, so then they go find,
And of course, Medusa's son goes, yeah, I know somebody.
Yeah, frickin' Mad Maximus. That's great.
Yeah.
Something. I don't remember what it was.
His uncle.
Yeah, his uncle.
Another humanoid.
Yeah.
Who's all locked up in this.
Right, so, you know, they're like, they're like, okay, we'll play 20Q, and, you know, if you win, cool, whatever. If I win, you'll let me go free. And they're like, oh.
Right. If they win, he's going to tell them what it's like to kill somebody.
Yep.
What that whole thing is about. And of course, if he wins, he's going to get to go free.
Yep. That's a total trap that he says. I mean, obviously, but that's just the way they did it was really clever, seeing as what he is, you know, the answer to what he is free.
Right.
Right? But that can only happen if they fail the 20Q.
Right.
So, you know, if you say, you know, at the beginning, you are free, that's incorrect. But if you don't, it's just like, dang, that is a solid trap you've set there. Right. Okay, first of all, I don't know why they made that deal. That's a stupid deal. I mean, what was it like, you know, let me go and, hey, you know,
they're kids.
Like,
well, of course, Alec Power, he's got to be at least 17 or something.
So, and, you know, I get the impression that
super genius doesn't mean you have a lot of common sense, though.
Obviously. Here, we're just gonna release. I mean, obviously, that's a pretty serious prison.
They had no intentions of letting him go.
But they still let him go. I guess I'm not cut out to be a superhero, because
they didn't let him go.
He cheated. He totally cheated.
They didn't let him go.
Yeah,
did they literally hit a button and let him go?
Yeah, the freaking
I don't remember
at the end
part.
where he's going, I'm free. What's his face? Medusa's kid is pulling some lever, letting him go.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't catch that part.
Wow, if you can free yourself with wordplay games alone, you are seriously powerful.
Well,
and I understand why he's in that bubble with the serious chains.
He's a badass.
Oh, dang. But no, seriously.
So I liked that whole part of the story. The whole part with the kids throughout this entire thing, I thought was fabulous. Do you want to talk about the other half? Or do you want me to talk about the other half?
Not. Well, I'll talk about the other half because I know spend forever talking about it if you talk about it.
Oh, I guess you're right. He is hanging onto a lever there at the very end. What are you? And he's getting ready to pull a lever, and he pulls the lever,
I'm free.
and he gets out.
It's like Oding.
Yeah.
That's a bad day.
Okay, the other half of this.
Some stuff happens with the people, the writers in there. It's kind of inaccurate. Okay, yeah then. I
Okay,
give
so
this a
wait. So the other half of this book basically is they need some media help, right? Because everybody kind of laughs at them being the substitute Fantastic Four, and so Deirdre gets her publicist to show up, and they're gonna give some good PR. They bring Marvel Comics along to give them good PR. They're gonna do a comic book about the FF.
Yep.
And the FF are going to do basically a science version of Disneyland where they're going to shrink people down and they can ride around this ride in the microverse, and yeah, it'll be a great time. And of course, the people they show up is Tom Baruch, Matt Fraction, and Mike Aldrin.
So the artist, writer, and editor.
And are the people who show up to do the thing. And of course, there's lots of smart aleck comments to the thing. Matt Fraction drops.
Cusses all over the place.
Cusses throughout the entire thing.
So,
and
Ant-Man's like, they let you write chill up on all
this
his
is all his book, right?
Sheesh.
And of course, they keep picking on him about the fact that they're going to have to spice up the book a whole bunch because their lives really aren't that interesting, even though this crazy stuff's going on.
How do you even get that tiger? I want to know the story.
The kids.
They shrunk it down?
The kids shrink. The two of the kids, the fish kids, are riding along with them. They shrank a tiger and put it in a bag, not that we know that. They're on the car. They use the shrinking dust, which I guess isn't as effective. So it starts growing while they're in the microverse. So they're being attacked. Matt Fraction is bitching about the fact that he's going to get killed by a micro giant tiger while they're in the microverse or whatever. Yeah. I hated it. I hated that whole part of the book. I absolutely hated it.
Very good.
I would have been very happy if literally the tiger would have eaten a few of them. Well, one of them. But we won't get into that. That's a Marvel issue. I have a Marvel and the people who are ugly Marvel people.
We met Matt Fraction, and Matt Fraction doesn't... I mean, maybe, he was being polite. I don't know. We met Matt Fraction, and I thought Matt Fraction was pretty cool. I liked him. Yeah, I mean...
Mike Aldrin's cool.
I wouldn't... Yeah, so see.
So that limits it down to who?
What's
At any rate.
But, honestly, I would have been fine if any of them had been eaten, because, I mean, Grant and I talked, well, actually, I didn't even talk to Matt Fraction. I observed that, can't figure out how not to say this without sounding creepy. I was there in the presence of Matt Fraction, observing his character in a way that wasn't creepy or following or stalkish. Those are all words. All of them. All proper grammar. End of sentence. Cool. I give this a 4.
Really?
Besides, I give the kid's story a 4 because that was awesome.
Well, that's the whole book. I paid for the whole book.
In that case, I give it a 3.
So I'm giving it a 3.
I didn't pay for any of it.
Because I like the kid part. I mean, that's a great part. But this book lost a lot of its charm because that part was just dumb. Okay, lastly, we are going to talk about X-Men.
Issue 3.
Issue 3. Okay. I like these characters. I like their characterization. I'm happy with the team, even though I don't know if they really call themselves a team, but the team. I love the art in this, but I don't think Copel is going to be doing much more of the art. He draws the cutest baby on the planet.
Yes.
I think. That baby is just cuter than I'll get out.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff we don't know because we're not horribly versed in the whole X-Men thing. So this whole robot chick, I don't know who she is, that she's somewhat possessed by this thing that came down. This got tied up awfully fast. Not that I wanted to drag on, but it seemed very done kind of a deal for now. So that part I'm not 100% on. I'm not sure I understand completely what happened, other than I know this alien force that's the twin of Sublime, uber powerful villain.
Is that actually his name? Really?
I'm pretty sure it is.
That's awesome. I'm gonna check that.
Something like that.
That'll be great if it's Sublime.
But she controls cyber and technology, and so there was a problem with that, and they ended up flushing the thing out somehow.
Oh, it is Sublime.
Yeah. Ended up flushing the thing out somehow, and I get all that, but I'm still not 100% sure.
Well, okay.
Was that the end of it, or?
See here.
I mean, I know it's supposed to be the end of the arc. I mean, it's supposed to be
okay, so, what's his face? Sublime's sister, Archaea, right? She possesses this cyborg lady.
Who's an X-Men of some sort, or X-Men friend, or a buddy.
But that means, it's, I guess that their relationships are symbiotic.
Uh-huh.
So, if one dies, the other dies too. Which was not what I thought. I thought it was just possession, and that she was more of a stronger of an entity, not just a...
So the big concern is for them to get rid of her, they're going to have to probably kill the AI that's inside this.
Which they do, which kills her. Because Archaea rebooted the cyborg lady.
Right.
Because she rebooted her, she in theory went back from being brain dead long enough to go, hey. So at least that's my understanding of it. That's why Archaea's dead, and they're like, oh, okay.
And everything's fine. She's wasted right now, but they plant her in the back of the back seat, and everything's funky, and she's asking, hey, where's where's your baby? And okay.
Yeah, because that's Psylocke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Psylocke's mental sword is just that.
Right.
It's a mental sword, so it's not like actually gouging yourself on that won't kill her, probably.
Yeah.
So probably though, that's
right.
Just
They roll the dice.
They don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to lobotomize or obliterate her now that she's back.
Right.
So yeah, baby is super cute. Psylocke is such a badass. She's so cool.
Cool.
I love the way her psychic powers work, because it's not like Psyblast or invisible telepathy or anything like that.
Right.
It's the fact that she physically manifests her psychic power
Right.
as a big old broadsword.
Just psychic ninja.
That's cool. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
She's pretty great.
Yeah.
Actually, I like the whole team.
Yeah, I do too.
So,
they're my favorite.
The Academy was funny. Obviously, she doesn't know, the handbook is pretty specific
That
on
was
vandalism.
hilarious.
Oh, dang.
So they're getting rid of the bomb, this bomb's gonna go off, and the bad stuff's gonna happen, and they only got a few seconds to get out of there or whatever. It's like, one of the characters, she's like crystallized her metal body. Bling. Her name's Bling.
Okay, Bling.
Her superhero name is Bling. And she's like, well, Miss Kitty, or Miss Pride, I could get us out of here, but the handbook specifically states on vandalism, blah, blah, blah.
She's like, just do it!
She's like, yeah, that's hilarious. Now she's going to wait. And then the whole, it looks like all these robots are going to come to kill us. It's like, oh no, they're like, throw up a shield. And of course, she's there beating them up. And then she mentions, oh, by the way, you might hear this story about me having caused a fight.
If you could just consider that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so there's some
that
good
was
stuff.
great.
There's some good stuff there. I worry about this book because there's an event coming up called Man of Adam or something Adam, which is going to tie over between the X-Men book and the Wolverine and the X-Men, I think, and I'm not sure who else, or maybe it's not Wolverine and the X-Men, but it's one of the other X-Men books.
Yeah.
So of course we suffer that same thing, whereas I don't get those other books and I don't really want to have to hunt down those other books, so we'll see what happens. I don't know what the plan is after that, and like I said, I'm worried that the next couple issues are done by the Lopez that me and you didn't like the last time you were reading the X-Men, that Brian Wood was reading it, where I did.
Yeah,
But after that's done, then the Dodsons come on. The Dodsons did most of the artwork for the Matt Fraction run of the Defenders.
Oh,
At
awesome.
the beginning, that really kind of slick look of Terry and his wife, which I'm sorry, I can't remember your name right now. But so that'll be cool. They'll be back to be decent artists. I mean, I really like this artist though. But
Yeah. No. So.
I give it a 3.
Yep, I give it a 3 too.
And that is it. I think we stretched this out long enough.
Yep.
We'll be back in a week or so. More books. Bye, everybody.